Hello again, this is Jose Palomino, your host for the Revenue Throughput Podcast. And our guest today is Chris Goegan. And Chris actually runs a company that focuses on engineered marketing, a way of building processes to help a business grow and attain really great results. So we're going to hear from Chris, and we're going to hear how this works in the real world, real practical insights. Can't wait to get started. So let's welcome Chris to our show. And welcome, Chris, to the Revenue Throughput Podcast. How are you this day?
Awesome. Thanks for having me here, Jose.
Yeah, so Chris, I think one of the things that to give our listeners a little bit of context, maybe just describe a little bit what your firm does and who you typically work with.
Sure. My firm's Engineered Growth Systems, pulling from my background in engineering, sales, and marketing. And I work with entrepreneurs and business owners who aspire to get to 1 million, 5 million, 10 million, 20 million. Don't have lead flow that they need, and everything depends upon them. They don't have systems in place.
So would you say that's the biggest challenge? Like when you hear about a company that the owner's like hands are and everything, right? Which is fairly typical for an owner-led business at amazingly big companies too. They still can be that way.
Yep.
Is that the trigger for you to say, boy, we should really be talking to them because they need some help putting some systems in place?
Maybe. Yes, but maybe.
Okay.
If the owner likes to stay in crazy mode where they're doing everything, they're control freak and they can't let go of stuff. If their vision is limited, then no, it's not a fit. If they've got a bigger vision from beyond where they are, and then they realize that, hey, I'm stuck. I can't get there with what I did. And I need leads, I need sales, I need revenue, I need systems in place. Then we should talk.
So interesting, because what you're saying is kind of the unspoken truth in the whole world of business consulting, which is this: 9 times out of 10, and it's probably more like 99 times out of 100, the discombobulation in a business comes down to the owner.
Yep.
Something the owner did or did not do, or wants or doesn't want.
Yep.
And you've hit on something which I think is very powerful, that sometimes an owner hasn't yet reached the point where they realize, I have to start getting out of my own way.
Yep.
For this to happen.
Yeah, exactly. And I remember, so Michael Gerber, he wrote the famous book E-Myth. He's
Sure.
a good friend and private client. And I remember talking with him, and he goes, Chris, one of the biggest things I want to do when I work with people is get the owner to realize that they're the problem. And it's like, no, it's about this, it's about that. And it's like, no, he's absolutely right. It's, the owner needs to understand they're the problem. They need to get out of their own way, and all the hard work, everything that got them to where they were, that's awesome. But that next level, there's a different set of rules and a different game to play.
Wow. So you've probably have had those conversations, because I'm assuming you can't always, you may hear something that sounds like they're ready for change, and then you get into the weeds and you realize not so much. Yeah. So how do you broach that conversation? How do you help an owner see that, look, the biggest obstacle to what you want to accomplish is staring back at you in the mirror every morning?
Yeah, with questions, because if I tell them that, then they may nod and agree in the moment, but just through questions. And so we just bring it back to their vision. It's like, what's your vision? Like, where do you want to go? You've reached one great level of success. Like, is there more? What's next for you? Like, is there an exit plan? Is there something more that you want? Do you want more time with your family? Do you want, and then it's like, how are you going to get there? Do you have a plan to get there? And 10 out of 10 times they're like, no, I don't have a plan to get there, or it's just some vague fuzzy thing. But then when we flesh it out, they have no plan.
So do you ever hear owners in that kind of situation, because I've heard this, where in a sense they're lamenting that they wish they had better people?
Always.
And I think the answer is the next hire.
If I had better people, and it's like, I have this bag of pixie dust here, and I like
there you go.
Bring it out and I'll sprinkle it on. There, your people are better. No, but it's like, because like business owners, like what we want to do is we want to abdicate. Really, it's like we want to hire somebody that's going to make all our problems go away, and we're really abdicating responsibility instead of leading them. If we lead them, meaning we figure, okay, this is vision, and then here's how we're going to get there, and then this is what we're going to do, how we're going to do it. We develop the systems, and we have people in automation run those systems, and we manage and lead those people. Then things get so much better. So if you don't have good people, well, who hired the person? You know,
Right.
who
And,
set the criteria? Who? Yeah,
and also, I think I've heard a related thing, which is not just I wish I had better people, but I wish my people cared as much as I do.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a tough one because I don't know if anybody will ever care as much as the owner does. Um, and and so if that's yeah that's another whole other conversation in and of itself, and it's like, and if they don't have the heart and passion, and if they don't want to be excellent at what they do, then maybe they need to go back and look at their hiring and screening process, because you want people that are excellent at what they do, that'll take what you created and make it better. You apply their own artistic ability,
Mm.
their own technical ability to making the thing that they're working on, the part of the business that they're working on, to make that just a thing of beauty, to take the system that you created and make it even better, make it even more amazing. When you've got a team like that of people that are committed to like wanting to like just do their part the best they possibly can, you're going to have an incredible organization, an incredible team.
So when you start talking to an owner, let's say the person is as you described, I definitely want to get to some next level, right?
Yep.
Whatever, from 2 to 4, from 4 to 8, whatever that next level is for them,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Relative to, and they are persuaded by you that it's not about wholesale changes to staff. Although I'm sure you've identified when you do your work, sometimes some people have to go because
Mm-hmm.
they're not going to make the turn with the owner.
Sure.
But owner's probably sitting back saying, "Chris, I hear you, but boy, I don't have the rest of my life to put into this. I can't do a 5 year turnaround because I've been doing the best I could for the last 10 years and it hasn't gotten much better." So, what would you say to that owner? Like, can you see results? Can you bring about changes in a shorter period of time, or is that like just more pixie dust thinking?
No, again, if they have the right mindset, if they have a vision, something that's compelling for them, the new level that they want to get to, and they believe in systems, may not know how to roll them out, then it's really remarkable, like what you can do. So like I developed a whole methodology, engineered marketing, or and with a company, it's like the guy's like Chris, he has $3 million a year. He's like, Chris, he goes, I've only got, he goes, first of all, you can't work with me. I want to hire you, but you can't work with me because I have no time. Second of all, I fired my whole marketing team. Third of all, I've got an operations manager who's got 2 hours a week and knows absolutely nothing about the sales and marketing side. What can you do? Well, in a year, we took him from $3 million to $10 million and saved him $2 million in operating expenses off of 2 hours a week. That's it.
That's dramatic.
Yeah, because we built systems. We took what they're excellent at, made that very clear, made it in a very presentable way, built the systems, to pull people in and to make like frictionless sales. It's like, when you develop systems, you gotta understand, like I'm an engineer. I spent, I've been helping businesses for the last, like 3+ decades. I spent a decade as an engineer building manufacturing lines, high volume manufacturing lines. And so my brain is just wired to think systems. And then, spent a decade in sales making over 100,000 cold calls. So I built systems in sales and built sales teams. And then I spent, the last 15 years in marketing, and it's like combining everything together. So I look at stuff, it's like, okay, you give me the inputs, I give you the outputs. So like you're here and wherever that is, you want to get to point B, and you tell me, hey, I've got this much time, this much money, this much energy, these are the resources that I have. Well, we'll make the best use of those, and we'll build those systems to get you to where you want to go. Because it's like one of the things, and I'll end this point on this, is that like we systematize the unsystematizable.
I love that expression. You just got to say it 3 times fast.
Yeah, exactly, right. We systematize the unsystematizable. Those multisyllabic words are hard for me. But it's like, yeah, when you look at things from a system standpoint, it's just like it's really remarkable, like what you can do.
No, I agree. It's funny. I went before I started my firm. I had done my MBA work at Villanova, which is all based on systems thinking.
Hmm.
So that whole principle was like 5 semesters of systems thinking, and I'd already been doing a lot of consulting, and I saw the similar challenge in my head, which is, okay, this can't be a black art. There's like, it's human activity, so there's going to be some variance between human to human, obviously.
Yep.
But we have to elevate the expectation because, by the way, in things like production, like manufacturing, they've already elevated. They're in lean. They're looking to push the productivity frontier. They accept the fact that, yeah, we could probably make it cheaper, better, faster.
Sure.
But all the other activities, like the stuff you do with like marketing, that story you told going from 3 to 10 million, and then you used an expression. I just want to dig in a little bit on it, which I think is just caught my attention: frictionless selling.
Hmm.
So I've heard a lot of folks talk about some version of getting there,
Hmm.
and it's kind of like I hear unicorns exist in the forest, but I haven't yet seen one exactly. So could you just expand a little bit on frictionless selling, what you mean by it, and what somebody listening to this might say that's it's attainable because?
Yeah, yeah, great question. And yeah, if you find those unicorns, let me know, because it's like my youngest kid would probably want to write on it.
Yeah.
So here's my 10 years in sales, making over 100,000 cold calls. Here's a grand summation of what what I figured out in that time. There's three types. There's three types of people, three types of leads: colds, warms, and hots. That's it. There's no more. There's no less. Colds, warms, and hots. So colds have no problem. Warms have a problem. They know they have a problem, and they're trying to figure out if they want to solve it or not. They're kind of looking around for different solutions. Hots have a problem, and they're actively looking for the best solution to buy that lines up with who they are and their values and what they want. So frictionless selling, if you develop a selling system where you got a system for the colds, a system for the warms, and a system for the hots. So like, would you try to close a cold? No.
Not unless you want to be very frustrated the rest of your life.
Yeah, exactly. I tried that. I tried that for a while. It's like, oh, they need this. It's like, well, yeah, they may need it, but do they want it?
Right.
And warms. So warms, they're trying to figure out if they want to invest time, money, and energy and solve the problem. They don't know if they want to solve it or not. Like, did you close them? No. You help them out. You educate them. And by educating, you're building trust with them, and you're making them warmer. Until they become hot. Once they're hot, they're ready to close. And when you've got what they want, so you take what you're excellent at, you identify that, you look at yourself, your positioning in the marketplace, you differentiate yourself from everybody else, and you're addressing the biggest problems that people have. When you got your differentiation, the biggest problems that they have, and they're all aligned, and you're going after hots, then all of a sudden it's they're like, where were you? Like where have you been? Like, everyone's had those sales. It's like, oh my gosh, like Jose, where have you been? Like, where were you 3 years ago? And so the thing is like, when you start thinking about it, colds, warms, hots, and look at people like that and treating them, engaging them, and talking to them where they are, and then helping them move on. All of a sudden, like things change. So like we just launched a campaign with a guy. The first week out of the gate, he's got sales coming in, and I like, how was it? He goes, it was so funny. He goes, they it was like a 15-minute call and turned into which turned into sale. This is a high ticket sale, because we had like everything was identified, everyone was aligned, like getting after the hots, talking to them in their language, like all the things they hear about. That's not new to everybody, but it's usually how people roll it out is where you have the problems, with it. So.
Well, this really resonates with me in a significant way, Chris, because I think about sales cultures, which tend to be a little bit still very tied into like sports metaphors and things
Sure.
like that, right?
Yep.
So the idea is somehow like if you really have sales chops,
Yep.
you can move somebody from cold to warm to hot.
Yep.
And what you're saying is, why bother? There's so many prospects. You got to do something with the cold, something with the warms. It's not like we ignore them, but that's more process, it sounds like.
Yeah.
And really, if you focus your primary attention on the hots, first of all, you're just doubling your bandwidth without increasing staff because you're focused only on those things that could close.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. And so someone who's got good chops, like they're good at sales. Yeah, you can move somebody from a warm to a hot, and get a close out of them, but can you do that in volume? Because someone who's a warm, like, it's going to take more time to close them. So if when you're looking at systems, we're talking about moving volumes of people, at a time. And if you help people, if you really help people like understand like where they are, different solutions that they could do, and different things that they can have, and why they're there, and why they're stuck, and problems that they have. When you do that, take that educational approach, with people, you're going to create a better bond with them, and you're going to get a lot more sales. So if all you're doing is just looking to close everyone that comes in front of you, you're not going to get many bluebirds coming. Like coming. Bluebirds was a term, or just a sale.
No, I use it. I know it's a great term.
So you're not going to get many bluebirds, But when you're just talking warms, treating them like right where they are, you're gonna have tons of bluebirds coming, because they're like, hey man, I like this guy. Like I love it. Like I get, like a guy reached out to me and goes, Chris, he goes, I've been receiving material from you for 10 years. I've got a great system for the hots. I got nothing for the warms, and I got a great thing for the colds. What do we need to do to get started? And I had one 15-minute conversation with a guy 10 years earlier, and it's not like this is a freak of nature thing. It's like when you have the right systems in place, that then it's like people see you as a, value added. Hey, I trust this guy. I can look to this guy. He's not going to try to ram something down my throat, but then also understanding too, it makes it easier for people to identify who they are, and makes it easier for the hots to come to you when you've got a system designed just to bring those hots in. And when you have a system to bring the warms in, like into your world, especially these days, like nobody trusts anything. Who trusts the media? Whether you're left, whether you're right, it doesn't, like, nobody trusts media. Nobody trusts anything. So, and look at the online, look at the marketing space. It's like, look at space that whoever listens to this, look at space you're in. Like, there's just a lot of crap out there. There's a lot of garbage. There's a lot of gurus. There's a lot of people who know everything, but with like very little experience on stuff. So if you're coming in from a value add perspective on it, you're going to attract like a lot more. That's why I love what you're doing, Jose. I love, the podcast, the conversation that you have. You're selling tremendous value into people, and they're going to tune in. They're going to listen to, a lot more. And they're going to say, hey, you know what? Over time, they're like, hey, I like this Jose guy, man. So yeah, it's like, what does he do? Can I learn more about him? It's like, hey, and then all of a sudden you start getting calls. Hey, I've been listening to your podcast for a while, and hey, I got this problem. Can you help me with it?
No, that's very powerful. And I guess the metaphor that came to mind, or the analogy, is, and if you've had teenagers, I've had teenagers, all of them now, grown up, but they came home, and then we serve a nice dinner, and it turns out they don't want to eat because they're full, because they had a late lunch. Mm-hmm. So you can't make them eat at that point in time, just because we're deciding to serve dinner at that time. But, come back down around 10 o'clock in the kitchen, you'll see them foraging, because now they're ready to eat. So it's very much that they just need to know the food's there. It's in the fridge. You know how to use the microwave.
Yep.
And it's kind of like with the example you gave. So having timing when people are ready to consume is such a critical thing. And doing it systematically seems like a really big part of what you do.
Oh, it's huge. Yeah, it's huge. Like everyone I work with, they're visionaries, and they're great doers, but they understand systems, but they don't understand how to roll those things out. And so for me, it's like, I work in a very engineered, systematic, pragmatic, like step-by-step, way to, and everything is designed just to really to have like massive growth. They're not going to have it within, 3 months or 30 days. That's, that's crap. But when you do things right, and build these right systems and get them tuned in and dialed in, where you build, it's like you build your systems, you fine tune until you hit what Malcolm Gladwell would call the tipping point. Mm-hmm. You got that tipping point where you've got ROI coming in, and also you got the velocity of ROI. It's a new word that I came up with. So that you got the ROI, and the speed of the ROI is pretty quick. Then you can open up the spigot and really launch things. You can really scale things up in a massive way. And that's really what I'm looking to do, like with people, is to build their systems, get them fine-tuned to the point where we're at that tipping point where we can open up that spigot and things can just absolutely blast off.
I love it, Chris. This is really great stuff. And, we've been at this close to 20 minutes here, so thank you so much. I don't want to abuse your time, but some wonderful ideas to share with our audience. Again, mostly B2B business owners, but I think anybody involved in any kind of sales or marketing, your words of wisdom will be very useful to them as well. And Chris, if somebody wanted to know more about what you do, your work, or to get in touch with you, how can they best approach that if they're listening to this podcast?
Yeah, but best way, Jose, is just go to my website. I got some free resources. Probably the best place. I've got a free guide. It's on the 3 essential systems. It's really built around how to get leads and sales off of any and every platform while freeing up your time.
And you could just call out that URL for us?
Sure. It's Chris Goegan, That's CHRIS, Goegan, GOEGAN.com. And then / the number 3 dash systems guide.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. And we'll have that on our show notes, but in case somebody just listening.
Yeah, you know, and if you go to the homepage, you'll be able to like find the resources too.
Okay. Fantastic. Well, Chris, thanks again so much. This has been a great conversation. Really appreciate your insights, and just thankful for the time. Appreciate it.
Thanks for allowing me to share, Jose. I appreciate you.